come into this video, I would like to take you through how you can file for your income tax return in case you are subjected with withholding tax originating from consulting and management services, which technically means the services which you had offered exceed the set threshold of 24,000 per month, which is subject to 5% withholding tax. But a disclaimer here, in case you received any income originating from interest from any financial institution, that interest which was deducted either of 15% or 10% in case it originated from long-term treasury bonds is a final tax. What does it mean to be a final tax? It means that the tax, you don't need to declare it when filing your annual tax return. But for the income which originated from consulting and management services, which the tax which was deducted as an advance tax and remitted by your payer to the Revenue Authority of 5%, that one is not a final tax. That means that you made an advance tax of 5% to the Revenue Authority, where you'll be able to deduct a withholding tax credit. But for the interest income is a qualifying income, and the amount which is deducted from that income is a final tax. And the logic behind it is because the government want to encourage investing and saving cash towards the Kenyan citizen. So with no much ado, let us get started. What you're supposed to do in order to file these income tax originating from withholding and consulting services, where you made an advance tax of 5%, meaning that you received 95% of your income, you need to come here and enter into the iTax portal. Then you need to enter your KRA password here. So my KRA password is A015430007A. Then I need to hit continue. So you need to populate to ensure that the TIN is correct and the password is correct. You also need to do a simple mathematical computation here, which will give me a value of 167. Then you need to log in to the iTax portal. So when you log in into the iTax portal, you'll be taken to this interface. Just come to where we have return and then choose to file return. When you choose file return, you'll be taken into this interface. So let us give it time. So the system is a bit down. So you need to come here and choose the tax obligation and choose income tax resident individual in case you are a resident individual. In case you are non-resident, just choose income tax non-resident individual, then click next. So when you click next, I have already filed my return. That's why I'm getting this pop-up. You need to choose the return period. So the return period for my case dates back from 1st January 2025 to 31st December 2025. Because we didn't have any other income rather than the income which was subject to withholding tax, assuming you only offer consulting services, as my scenario here, you need to come here and download this Excel sheet. So this Excel sheet is a zip file or compressed file which contains some sheet from KRA. So it will download here. You shall just see it populate here and then show you what you're supposed to do in order we can open it. So it will download. So the sheet is already downloaded. So you come into the downloads, and the sheet is here, which was downloaded at 429. So it is this one. You need to come and click above it. Come to where we have properties. Click unblock. Click apply, and then click OK. So the reason why I'm doing this is to avoid macros when you open this document using Excel. So to open it, I'll just click here and then extract the content of the document. So come here and choose to extract. So when we extract, this Excel sheet will appear here. You just click above it, then come to where we have open and open it with Excel. So that document has opened here. So I had already opened. Okay, let me close this one, and so that we open it here. So I have said you just click above it, then come to where we have open and choose to open with Excel. So let it open. So when it open, you notice it will not have a macros problem, though I have gotten a warning, but you notice the filing of return will be so easy. So when we come into this document, this is the normal Excel sheet, but now the filling of this will be technically different for the compared to the method which you use when we have employment income. So you need to come here and populate your personal, your KRA PIN, or what we call TIN number. So my TIN number is A015 43007A. Then you need to come here and choose the type of return. In my case, it's original. So in your case, it will be original since you'll be filing for the first time, assuming. From there, you need to choose the return period. So the return period dates back from 1st January 2025, because we usually file for the previous years, to 31st December 2025. Okay, from that now, after doing that, where it is sensitive and where now we will be populating our document is here. You are being asked, do you have any other income other than employment income? Technically yes, because that is what we are doing. So when we click yes, we shall get 2 additional sheets. And what sheets are those? Is the profit and loss sheet and the balance sheet. So this is the P&L and the balance sheet. So what we need to focus with as per now is first the P&L, and then we move to where we have our balance sheet. So at our P&L, what you notice, we focus, because we didn't deal with stock item, we are dealing with a non-stock item, which is the consulting and management services, and we earn some commission from our services. We need to come where we have commission under section 1.2. That is what we'll be dealing with. So what you need to do basically, you need to get back into your withholding tax certificate, because you didn't receive any how do we call it? You didn't receive any kind of income which was the formal employment income. You receive income which was subject to withholding tax. So what are you supposed to do? What you're supposed to do, because I have 12 P9 form, not P9 form, withholding tax certificates, you need to aggregate the gross amount of all those withholding certificates. So those withholding certificates, you can easily get them in the iTax portal, so easily under this section. So I can show you. You can come here and come to where we have reprint withholding certificate, and you can be able to print all these withholding certificates which are here. So we need to get at those withholding certificates. So as I have explained, you need to aggregate the amount of all these withholding certificates. So technically I had one which was a gross amount of 52,250. Then I had an annuity from them which was technically an amount of 55,000 until the end of the year. So what am I supposed to do? So I'll get into my calculator and do the summation. So let me take my calculator and do the summation. So I'll do the summation of 55,000 times 11, because I received the same amount of the income from February to the end of the year, which is an annuity. Then I need to multiply it by 11. Then I need to add an amount which I received the month of January, which is 52,250, which is 52,250. Getting the aggregate of amount which I received to 657,250. So I need to come here and populate that amount here and then put it here. So when I do that, you notice based on the new KRA regulation, any expense which will be deducting against this gross income which you receive, it must be validated via eTIMS/TIMS. So in case you failed to validate this income using TIMS or eTIMS, no operating expense you'll be able to deduct against this income which you incurred. But all is not all, because KRA introduced something at the sheet T computation, tax computation here of income. So at the section 6, I want to show you something. There is something they are calling manual and eTIMS/TIMS expenses. So this is the only expense which you can be able to less it against your commission, which is under section G. I wanted to confirm under section G. So under section 6, that is where they are introducing where you can be able to claim for manual non-e-teams stroke teams expenses. What does this mean? These are like the receipts which you receive from supermarket or your railroad, but they were not e-teams validated, or your railroad didn't invoice you, so they are non-e-teams validated. So in order to report them and be able to claim it against the income which you generated from consulting services, what you are supposed to do, you need to get into your iTax portal. You come to where we have returns. You come to where we have income tax return adjustments and choose for manual non-e-teams stroke teams invoices here. And what are you supposed to do from there? So as it open, let me first get back to the Excel sheet. So what you need to do when we will be able to download, it is a CSV document, which seems like an Excel document. You populate all the receipts which you have, which you need to net off against the income which we have reported. We have reported in our P&L. That is what you need to do. You less it against these amounts. So what does I mean by that? So this income is like you are reporting it as gross income here. So we need to net off some expenses because we incur the expenses. But the problem is these expenses which we want to deduct, we were deducting here previously, they were not validated by Revenue Authority when you claim them. So some people are overstating their expenses and maybe they could be reporting a loss, but now it is not possible. So hoping that it has already loaded, so we need to give it time since the system is sluggish. So I'll demonstrate to you what I wanted to download. So under my download, I have something which is here. I downloaded it. Let me show you the document. So this is the manual and e-teams stroke teams file which I wanted to download from the Revenue Authority. So this sheet here is the one which I wanted to download. So it contains the PIN of the supplier, the name of the supplier, the invoice number, and the invoice date, and the supply description and the amount. So this is where you come and populate all the invoices and receipts, which now it will give you the credit of coming and maybe deducting those amounts from this section. This section under the T computation of the manual and e-teams invoices, which is here, which will come and less it from this section. So it is under G. Maybe I incurred an expense of maybe I have receipt which goes to the amount of it is EFG, which goes to an amount maybe of 450,000 of the expense which I had incurred. So you notice that this will be reducing our tax liability, which we from this income which we had reported in our P&L here. We had reported it. He had reported it here. Let me show you. We had reported the commission here. So in case you have all those receipts, these are the one which, let me see if the portal opened. So I need to go back and try and restart again the portal. And try and restart again and see if it will accept. Take us back. So let us take us back. So that is the whole analogy of it. So you need to come here. So this is the section which I wanted to show you. So you need to come to where we have returns, come to where we have income tax return adjustments, come to where we have manual non-e-teams invoices. So it will take you to choose the tax period. So the tax period is 2025. Then click next. Then click OK. So When you click OK, this is the document which I was telling you download here. The manual and teams invoices. So open it. So it's a comma saved values. So you just come here and populate all the information which I have informed you about. Where you populate your the TIN of the supplier. Maybe you went into a supermarket. Maybe you incurred some expense which correlates. Maybe you bought some stationery. Enter the PIN here. You bought some desk. Maybe you did a computer repair, and so on and so forth. All those receipts. And the aggregate amount which is in those receipts which you have populated here, you also need to enter the name of the supplier, the invoice number, the invoice date, the supplier description, and the amount. When you are through, you just save the document. Save the document. Save the document. Let me replace and save. Save. Let me save it. And when you save it, you will just get back to the iTax portal. You will choose the CSV document here. Choose it, save it after you have populated all the detail. You see the receipts which you had populated there in the supplier PIN. You just make them a zip folder, which can be a PDF or in one PDF. Come here and upload them here. So they must be less than 10 MB. And then you submit. And then KRA will approve and you'll be good to go. So let us get back and continue. So you notice that when I remove this expense because I am not able to categorize the expense which I incurred, maybe I remove this expense, you will see the level of the tax liability which KRA is demanding from me. So let's get back to the T-sheet here, the tax computation. You will notice because I'm declaring the whole amount, KRA is demanding me to pay this amount of tax. Then what you know, we will deduct the withholding tax credit, which is the unadvanced tax which we had paid to the revenue authority. And how do we do that? In most cases, it will be auto-populated in case all your withholding tax certificate were technically validated by iTax. But what you need to know, this amount, it is the aggregate amount. Let me show you. Swearing to obey me today. So what you notice, this amount which we get here is the aggregate amount of this amount of tax withheld. So you need to take the gross amount of this tax withheld for all the period. So as I explained to you, I received it. It was an annuity, so I need to take 2750, I'll multiply it by 11. Then I will sum it with the one which was not forming annuity for the month of January, which is 2613. So the total amount is giving me 32,863, and you notice the value of it because this is an advance tax which we had paid to the revenue man. So you need to come here and come at this Excel sheet and populate this amount here, and it will significantly adjust your tax liability. Because in case you are unable to validate the expenses which you incurred, stay rest assured that you pay a lot of tax because you incurred some expenses when delivering your consulting services. But because you cannot be able to substantiate the expense which you incurred because you didn't keep good books or you don't have the expense which you incurred, you'll be in problem. So after that, what you need to come here and validate again is the balance sheet information. So under the balance sheet information, because I know most people, valuation of assets and liability is kind of ambiguous work. Where we have other assets, I would just recommend you put value 1 because this is not technically wealth declaration. This is just declaration of your income, which is subject to operating income and operating expense where you get your profit. So from there, you need to come to where we have other rules and put value 1 because I'm rest assured this can give you a lot of problem because you try to balance it, it will never balance in case you don't have some financial literacy. Then you come here. From there, you need to come here and validate. And you are good to go. this is the method which you'll be using in case you under some income which was subject to withholding tax originating from management and consulting services. But now from this here, please ensure you use eTeams validated invoices for your expense and all the incomes which you receive. It somehow looks like it is to punish us, but in the end of the day, it will be one of the great invention in Kenya, because in case you can be able to claim all the expense which you have incurred and they can be substantiated by the revenue man, you will not be having a lot of worries thinking that the revenue authority is following you. So it's quite a good idea to the revenue authority, and it will assist us in being tax compliant. So let us give a time to validate these sheets, and then I show you how you will upload them, and we can call it a day as long as today is concerned. So these sheets will be these are the sheets are ready to be uploaded. You want to generate? Yes, I want to generate. So they have been saved as the document. You need to check the day so that you don't get confused and submit the wrong values. You need to check the time and the second, and then all the details which are here. But most probably where the document is saved, then you need to get back to iTax, come to where we have return, come to where we have file returns. So hope it will not misbehave and take a lot of decade to route to that sheet. Then you need to come to where we have tax obligation. We said it is the income tax resident. Then you need to click next. When you click next, what you're supposed to do, just click OK. So what you do basically, just come here, input the return period, which is from 1st January 2025 to 31st December 2025. You need then to choose the file which we have downloaded, which is the XML file, which was saved as the document. Click above it, and then from there, you can come and agree, and then submit. And after that, you'll be able to have declared the income which you receive from management and consulting services. So in case you have any query regarding this issue and how you can be able to deduct all the expenses which you incur, don't worry, all is not lost.